Okay, this video is for Cash Cardi 1017. You said, right, you're not feeling too good because that you're not finding your bliss, right? You're feeling a bit empty, and you're asking how do you get more joy out of life? And you're saying you're looking forward to playing for as left winger, and that you're in university and you enjoy going to the gym. How do you enjoy life more? How do you get more out of life? Some people come to mind as I read your question, and I've actually read multiple. You posted multiple times in Boot Room, and I've actually enjoyed some of what you've shared. Jocko Willink, he says, anytime his subordinates or his employees or even his peers, they come to him with a problem, he says one thing: the answer is good. So they come to him with any problem and he says good. And the reason he says good is because it's an opportunity to solve something, and that's where joy comes, right, from the problem. So you're feeling a bit empty and you're not getting the most joy out of life. That's a good thing, because that's a calling, right? There's something that you could not necessarily fill your life with, but I think you could go deeper and you could set your sights higher, right? Like in a football game, let's say there's a championship game and there's a football player, and the football player, he breaks his thumb. The goal of winning the football game will actually act as a painkiller. It's been proven on a physiological level. So what this means is that the higher and more challenging your goals are, the more fulfilling your life might become. So here's what I suggest. You want to be perpetually curious, right? Especially if you get joy out of playing soccer, you can go deeper into, you could share that joy, right? So just like you're not appreciating how interconnected you are in your university, and like who you are. You're a community of, right? You're in a, this is Jordan Peterson saying this, you are a node, right? You have your family and you have your friends, and you're in university and you've played for teams, so you have coaches, and right, you're connected in circles, and each person from those groups, from family, friends, community, they're connected to people. So you're one person away from a million people, just from all the people you know, and you're two people away from like a billion people, something like that. But basically, you don't appreciate, you're not thinking about right now how important your endeavors are to your community, right? Your pursuits within your family and your friends and your community, super important. And the better you get, and the smarter you get, and the more curious you become in this world, you'll lift, right? A rising tide lifts all boats. You want to just keep on going, because the more you read and the more you learn and the more you think and reflect and study, you not only do you grow your life, right? Some people are getting older, but some people aren't. They're getting older, but they're not growing. So you want to keep on growing every day, right? A little bit every day. You don't have to do a lot. You want to just do just a little bit, and you keep that going. That's gonna, right? You start making better decisions, and that's gonna start to spiral you up. You also want to set your sights high, right? Because, right, a lot of people play their life in defense, right? They're thinking they're living for their 401k, or they're in a job where they might not give a shit. They're not attacking their passion, or they've never really thought, okay, if I could sacrifice everything, but I could live a dream lifestyle, even if, like, you gotta have a vision for the future so you can work towards it. And you may not know what that is, but as you start to, you'll know what that isn't, and that could mean, right, if you know, you said you enjoy soccer, but it could mean right, you have to have a vision so that you'll know what to sacrifice, right? Like some people they like the freedom of, you know, remote travel, or some people they like consistent routine, or some people like to some people like this the feeling of staying in one town their whole life. So there's always going to be trade-offs to any decision you choose, but that's the whole purpose of, as you grow older, that's you have to sacrifice, right? You have to sacrifice things in order to achieve certain goals. So there are benefits with the trade-offs, right? Because you get to choose your suffering, right? So it's like Jordan Peterson talks about Peter Pan, or I'm sorry, Pinocchio, right? Pinocchio, I guess he talks about both of them, but basically, since they're, like, he talks about children, and since they're young, they're full of potential, but as you grow older, you start to trade off between the things that are, right, you have to choose the things that are more meaningful, because if you don't choose and you let life just keep hitting you in the face, then you're going to end up, right, no closer to a goal that you don't have, and that much older in time, right? So if you're not chasing, you just want to be thoughtful, right? Each day thoughtfully work towards some type of vision, and you're learning along the way, right? Like I went to go speak with someone, this guy who owns a real estate company, and I had my my real estate exam. I was going to take a real estate test, and I went to go speak with this guy, and he asked me a question. He told me that it took him 5 years to sell his first house, right? 5 years. And that the way he sold his house was through his connections, right? And that he used his rugby connections, and someone on the rugby team eventually, right, who he was playing with, eventually led to him selling a home. And he asked me who my circle of influence was. And I thought, well, it's from, right, we both live in the same town. So I said, oh, well, it's from, you know, the job that he knew I worked at. And I was like, oh, well, my first sale, I was thinking, well, people will know me from my work. And I did not like that answer. And I didn't like it because I cared more about soccer than I cared about the job that I had at a restaurant and real estate. So I wanted to play soccer more than I want to sell houses. So that's my trade-off. The trade-off was, okay, might make less money in the short term, and I might make right, maybe there's an upside to selling real estate, but you know, this is, you know, it's 5:29 in the morning. I've been up for an hour answering soccer questions. So, right, so this just gives you an idea. There's trade-offs to all choices, and the more that you start to listen to yourself and what you're saying, and go deeper within yourself and say, okay, you only have one day, right? You're gonna watch this video and say, okay, I have one day. What can I start to explore? What visions can I start to explore? You gotta listen to your dreams. You gotta listen to your gut, right? Your gut will tell you if your choices, the things that you're doing, are congruent in your life. Like when you start to make better decisions, it's going to start to spiral you up. So if you're in university, right, they teach you three things: how to think, how to write, how to think, like how to be, like, stand up in the world. So you gotta I would actually go to ratemyprofessor.com, and not just, right, Jordan Peterson, again, he says study very narrow and also very wide. So, you know, I would start to, you want to find the most challenging professors, or like the people who are thinking about things and who are gonna, like, if you're at university and you're already paying for this semester, and we're in February, you have this last semester. I mean, pretend like this is the last semester that not that you're gonna quit or disappear, but pretend that like this is the last semester you'll ever be in college. You want to soak up, you want to be a sponge, and right, like, and you know, pursue everything to the fullest extent. There's professors who just want to share what they've learned. You know, you got endless opportunity to grow, right? And if you love soccer, you should start teaching that within your community, because I promise you, there are players, you know, what I've written or what I've read of the things that you've been commenting, I guarantee you there's a youth player within your town, within your community, and who would benefit from your training. And if that doesn't give you joy, okay, well then, you know, explore your course curriculum, and you got to challenge yourself, right? You could start auditing classes, right? Like max out or even go beyond it and just sit in on classes. Like some of the best classes I've ever been on, I didn't even end up taking them, but just they were so refreshing when you're getting ideas from, right, not just in your field. The people who excel the most are people who are novices in new fields, because they don't know what can be achieved, so they're coming from things at a different angle with a different energy. So what I'm suggesting is you got to start exploring every single subject within your curriculum, and seeking out, you know, check out some philosophy, even if you don't plan on, I'm not saying you got to be a philosophy, you know, teacher, or, you know, pursuing that as a serious endeavor, but just explore. You know, I challenge you to sit in on a philosophy class, on a, you know, on an art class, on an acting class. You have this whole semester and you're already paying for it, so you might as well milk it for all the joy that there is to be had. And you could surprise yourself and find yourself in, you know, start finding yourself in different groups of people, different ideas, different thoughts. And I think that's where it's going to be some, you know, that's where some learning can occur. I mean, I was in a bad scenario one time where I was up a creek with no paddle, proverbially speaking, and I had slept in my University of Rhode Island library for 2 nights, and for those 2 days I read like, I must have paged through 50 books, something like that, and those books have forever, you know, completely changed my life. So you want to start going deeper, right? You want to go backwards in time. You want to start, you know, backwards through people, from people who are doing it the best, right? Read about everyone. You just keep reading, keep growing, keep learning every day, and I promise you, it's all gonna work out. So hope some of these ideas help, and reach out with any questions. All right, thank you.